Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Am I sounding fine?
Yeah, you sound all good.
Okay, awesome. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, good here. Pretty busy
It's
few months actually.
it's so nice to talk to you again.
Yeah, I know. It's been what month was it? Like August, since we last saw each other, and me being in Brooklyn, of course.
Are you happy to
Right?
be back in Canada?
Uh, yes.
Yes. You're like, well, it's home.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love. Yeah, it's home. I love Canada. I really do. Um, yeah, I mean, I was checking. I saw you uploaded the interview with Aaron.
Yeah.
I didn't see the whole thing because it was like 2 hours. It's like,
Mm.
oh, I listen to Aaron so often. How much more can I take? But uh, yeah, I was just actually like, is this recording right now yet, or no, or is this? I don't know.
Yeah, but I can shut it off.
No. I was just curious, like, um, uh, I noticed with Aaron's video, I thought maybe it was the encoding, but it looked a bit stretched. Just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, it was a little bit stretched, but at the same time, I didn't want to lose that footage just because it was stretched out a bit. But
Oh,
it
okay.
was a bit stretched. It won't happen this time. I know exactly what happened, but it just sucked because there was nothing I could do. Every time I edited it, it just it would flip the video around, but it just continued the stretch. It wouldn't
Oh,
change that, and I
sorry.
was like, well, either I can trash this. And this was our second time doing an interview because our first one got messed up. So I was like, I'm not gonna call Aaron back and be like, hey, Aaron, like, let's do a thing. Like, I wasn't gonna do that. So I was like, you know what? Like, it's my first interview. Like, you live and you learn, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think it was a pretty good, first time experience for yourself. And, I think that probably just adds to the charm. So it's like, if you're down the line as you start to do more interviews, you can look back and be, wow, these are the things I have, improved on. And, look where I am now. I think it's a good thing.
Thank
Don't worry about it.
you. Thank you. So, Kevin, you are the magical voice behind Tangy Mustard. My favorite
Yeah.
character on Sublo and Tangy Mustard.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it was 50-50, right?
Well,
Sad to
no,
me.
there's Katie too. I love her. She's my second. I love her.
Oh yeah, the Katie is great. It's probably meet her in real life, but
I would
she's
love that.
I'm sure she's very sweet.
She seems awesome. Um, what's it called? Uh, how long have you been doing this for?
Voice acting or sublo? I guess they're the same answer.
Yeah, right?
Well, I was looking this up because it was like, man, this is a while ago, and I was looking at when we released our teaser because that was the first thing we've done, and that was like the teaser was released at least 8 years ago. So I think it was a little bit shortly before that. Remember he wanted to just get something out, like kind of like a feeler, and so we did some recordings shortly before that. And then that's when we started to get into the swing of like, okay, let's start recording like 10 episodes afterwards. So at least 8 years.
Okay, that's a while. That's
Yeah, and
actually
that's my
really
first
cool.
voice acting bit I've ever done. You know, I'm not really a professional voice actor. Aaron's just my best friend, and he approached me saying, "Hey, you sound like you have a great voice for a tangy mustard." And I'm like, "What the hell's that?" But, but sure, I'm here to support you.
You're really good at voice acting though. Like you really can emote through a character and like it was shocking when I went to the convention and I found out that was like literally just because you guys were friends and it was not cuz you didn't voice act. I was actually really surprised cuz you were always my favorite voice like before we talked like
Oh,
anything. You were always my favorite voice. I love your voice. And I
thank you.
honestly just thought it was just a voice somebody was putting on. So first when I found out it was just your voice, I was just like, what? And then when I found out you did nothing before, I was really surprised because you're very good at emoting.
Thank you. I mean, it's like emoting in real life, right? It's just my voice. And
Yeah.
it's funny. Normally growing up, people don't normally praise me for like, oh man, you got such a great voice. You should do voice acting. It's like, oh, you got a deep voice. Shortly before the Brooklyn Animation Festival, which was great by the way, and I'll get into that later. There was a Newgrounds meetup event in Toronto in the
Ooh.
summer, and that was the first time I've went. I didn't even knew they were held in Toronto before, so my friends dragged me out, and there was a lot of people there, and I was just talking to my friends, and so Subtle and Tangy Mustard is featured on Newgrounds. It's pretty popular there. Kind of more popular there than on YouTube, which is pretty crazy. And there'd be random people in the crowd. They'd just be like, "Yo, I hear Tangy Mustard." I was like, I'm just talking to my friends, but hi.
That is so funny. That's
Yeah,
so
it's
cool.
yeah, it's great. Yeah, I got to meet a lot of interesting people through my actually just the other week actually. I was at my friend's birthday party, and so I knew her, of course, but I wasn't as familiar with her friends. And there was people started to come to the party, and I was introducing myself. I'm like, hello, my name is Kevin, nice to meet you. And one of them, sweet girl, she was like, yeah, I know you're Kevin, you're Tangy Mustard. I'm like, what? And she had her mask on, so I didn't recognize her, so I was just like really taken aback. I was like, so,
That's
who's
the
this person?
coolest thing ever. Oh
Yeah,
my
she was at the
gosh.
Newgrounds meetup, and she watched the cartoon. So I was like, oh, okay, you're her, okay. Now I remember because he had a mask on, didn't recognize it immediately. But yeah, it was interesting. Just all these interactions I've had just because of the voice I was born with.
Yeah, that's one thing you can't get away with is hiding your voice. Like you're kind of like it's out there. Like, and as soon as you talk, it's like tangy mustard.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just like, no, I
No,
guess.
not me.
But yeah, no, it's been great. It's been a great ride so far, and the ride keeps on going.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. So, did Aaron ask you in college or when you guys were done?
So we knew each other from high school, and we didn't go to the same college or university here. Uh, I think at the time, I can't remember if he already moved to LA yet or not. But like I was already doing my own thing. I went to school for one thing. He was focusing more on animation. But like we're best friends, so we
Yeah.
always get together whenever we're in town, grab some food, hang out with our other best friends. And yeah, he just kind of came up with this idea of like, oh yeah, like I'm working on this thing for my YouTube, and I wanted you to voice in it. And I knew he was an animator since high school. He was already winning awards, and he was like doing all these high school videos already that we're obviously all impressed with. So this was his first independent project that was like seemed a lot bigger than what he has done in the past. And so that's why I was like, at first I was a little apprehensive about it because he knows me, so he knew I'm not a professional voice actor. And I told him initially, I told him no, I didn't want to voice it because I thought he could find someone better. Like this is going to be a big thing. Get a big person. And he just said like, no, 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 you'll be great. I envisioned you for this character, Tangy Mustard, and like I said before, like what the hell is that? But because he was very adamant about it, I was like, you know what, like I'm gonna trust his vision. He obviously knows it more than I would, so maybe he has something in mind that I don't have. So I agreed, and it was really it's been a great ride since. It's a lot of fun times doing all those recordings.
Yeah, I'm sure. And you guys do recordings in LA and Canada, right?
Actually, no.
What? I thought I
It's
could have
actually been
sworn at the convent. Oh, I must have misheard. Okay,
no.
sorry.
It's been all the recordings have been at least for myself has been exclusively in Toronto. I know because some of the characters he has on the show, they're his friends in LA, so he would do those recordings in LA. He would do all the Canadian voice actors that I know of. They're all Toronto based. So he would, we're not
Gotcha.
gonna go fly to LA
Right.
to do those recordings. We'd just be like, Aaron, we'll see you in 2 weeks when you come back home and do the recordings there. So, um, yeah, I mean, I was gonna say we didn't do any professional recordings in LA. We did some casual ones. Uh, I think it's more for like documentary purposes than really for the show.
Oh, fun
Um,
though.
yeah, yeah, and hopefully we'll have those. We have more out soon down the line. Record more rather. But yeah, it's mainly been at in Toronto and great studio, great people.
I know I keep mentioning to Aaron, I'm like, Aaron, I'm excited. Aaron, I'm excited. Hey, Aaron, Sublo and Tangy Mustard new episode. Like, I keep bugging
Yeah,
him. I'm like, I need these. I'm
that
so excited.
was
And I know,
a
but
lot of
it's,
people.
yeah, and it's like, it's so hard because, like, he does everything on his own. So I can't even, I really can't even imagine. So, like,
Yeah,
definitely he needs his time. But at the same time, I'm like, I need it.
yeah. I mean, I don't know how his brain is wired differently. Like when he does all the storyboarding, the animation, the music, the sound. He voices Dick Wubomber even. So
I know,
uh,
that one got me a little.
yeah, it's just but to me, it always feels like it comes natural to him. Like it just seems like, oh yeah, he already has it all planned in his head. He just needs to execute it. So, like, whenever I see him, it doesn't seem like he's stressing himself to the bone to get this out. Especially because he has no timeline.
Mhm.
So it's interesting to see how much work he can get done. Whereas it's just like you're at the festival where Ryan, who voices Subtle, he's like, him and I, we just do the voicing, and it's pretty easy. Whereas Aaron is doing the real work.
Yeah, no, he's definitely doing like the heavy lifting.
Yeah, definitely.
Who's your favorite to record with? Is it Ryan or?
When we do recordings, we actually record it individually. So, like, it's just myself, Aaron, and sometimes Elizabeth, his fiance, would be there. So a lot of the cast members I've actually never met, even though it's been ongoing for eight
Oh.
years. Like Ryan, I actually only met the first time like 2 years ago. He's a comedian, so he does like stand up comedy at shows. And the first time I met him was there. Like he's like he had a show in Toronto. I was like, hey, we should probably meet up because we've been doing this
Oh
show for
yeah, so,
6 years.
that makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
interested.
So like Heather, who plays Katie, I've never met, so there were opportunities, but it's just I my time didn't match up with hers, unfortunately. So, but there's other characters in the show that I have met. Like there's one Shannon. Um, she's one of our friends from high school, so she voices one of the characters, at least one of the characters, and so we've known each other since high school. We've known each other for a very long time. So Aaron likes to use his friends and his circle of friends.
I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Is it cool for you to like continue to work with these people?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like Aaron's my best friend, so it never feels like work whenever we do recordings. We meet up, we have hey, let's do some recordings and let's go get some food after kind of thing, right? So
Absolutely.
it just feels more like hangout, which probably helps based on how casual the show is and just like it's very laid back and like I felt comfortable every time I've recorded. So I think that comes across through in the show.
Yeah.
Whereas like if it's something very formal, stilted, strangers that I don't really know, it might you probably get a completely different voice.
That's probably really true. Yeah, 100%. Especially for like you not doing voice acting before, it probably helped a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I was like definitely not nervous, and Aaron was very great at instructing me. He has like an idea of what he wants to hear, so we go through a couple of loops of the script and the enunciations of what he's expecting, and then after he gets what he wants, then that's where I kind of look at it and be, Tangy Mustard wouldn't say that like that, or he wouldn't say this. We kind of go off the deep end a bit, because he based Tangy Mustard on me. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna put myself in the situation. Is this what Kevin would say? And it's like, Kevin would say it a little bit differently. So let's try that. And he's very open-minded, and he'll have some time set aside for that.
And that's how Tingy Mustard got his famous catchphrase, right?
I think the catchphrase was not like for the show. It's like I was doing that back in like I think after high school, I'll just be like, yeah, that's pretty cool, and he just loves it. I'm like,
It's
all right, it's
so
just like,
good.
and
Yeah.
yeah, he incorporates it in the show, and it's like, you sure, man? Like, you sure you want to add that?
That is so funny. I love that. What's the funniest story you have voicing Tangy Mustard?
Funniest story, voicing. Let me see. Well, I guess I wouldn't say related to voicing, but I'll say it's related to the show. So, when we first started this, Aaron, he wanted to make it proper. He wanted to draft up a proper work contract, and it's all like it looked very legal. But he left the payment blank. He left it up to me to say, hey, Kevin, I don't know how much to pay you. Um, put in a figure that's reasonable, and that'll be fine. And this is when we were starting for the first season, and we didn't know how big it's going to be, and I was just doing it to support Aaron. So if it gets big, yeah, I definitely want to take my cut.
Right.
But yeah, like initially, it's like Aaron, was still kind of getting his feet wet with the supplemental tangy mustard, so I didn't want to really be greedy about it. So I ended up filling in the payment box. I wrote in ramen and more.
Ramen.
I don't know. I think because we were gonna go grab some ramen that night, Kintan Ramen specifically, which is a local chain here, and just filled it in. I was like, all right, I guess we're legally obligated to give me ramen anytime I want.
You covered your food.
So we had it reviewed with some lawyers, and it turns out that's not legally binding. But it's fun nonetheless. He still covers the bills whenever we get ramen.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh, that's really cute. But that's not legally binding. I mean, like, you're I guess it has to be money, huh?
The and more part makes it too ambiguous to make it legally binding.
Oh, so if you just put ramen, it would be like, okay.
It would have helped.
That's really
it would
funny.
have been much better. But it's like, let's put and more just in case. I want some sides,
Yeah, exactly. Like, what if you didn't want ramen? What if you wanted, like, pizza? That's your more.
Yeah, I mean, or I want some, gyoza, or I want some ice cream. You never know.
Yeah,
Whatever
like,
I feel like.
make it fancy. If Tangy Mustard got his own spin-off show, what do you think it would be about?
I think this was already teased in the show. If I were to get, a spin-off show, but I'd like to see a show where he's touring with Tito around the world, going to clubs, prepping his mixes and stuff, because it sounds like something I'd like to do in real life, I think that's, we got to see that peak in the last episode where, Tito, and, for those that haven't seen it, Tito's a DJ, he's going to these clubs, and it was teased throughout, I think, a different episode where, Tangy Mustard is trying to find clubs for him to perform at. He was checking through his phone.
Mm-hmm.
Remember where, and he's like, I found this there's lighthouse box, and it's in Tokyo. So I think it would be good to explore those things, like sending Tito and Tangy Mustard into weird clubs around the world.
That would be amazing. I would definitely watch that. I love Tito, so that would be actually a really good show.
I haven't met Tito in real life, too. I'm very curious if he's like Tito.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Just scratching himself all the time.
Maybe not that.
Letting ants crawl on him. Tito's an interesting character.
Maybe I don't want to see him now.
Yeah, doesn't wear pants. Maybe your perspective changes.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we'll see. I think it would be good to do some get together down the line, though.
Definitely, that would be so funny. Like, have you ever thought about like doing a meetup with everybody like in costume, kind of? Like, imagine if you like met in like a parrot costume.
Well,
that'd be funny.
I mean, we talked. Aaron and I talked about that to like kind of promote the show, but at the same time, like, I will say if I were to dress up like Tangy Mustard, it's kind of like furry outfit. It's not really my. It doesn't seem comfortable. And
you think? Really, I think it's more like a mascot. No. I
No,
I
no. I
guess,
mean,
yeah, where does that line draw with that? Like, that's actually a good point. I
yeah,
don't really know.
I really don't know too. I think it starts to get into a really gray area, and yeah, I mean, it would have to be for something really big for me to get into like a hot outfit like that. Like, I've cosplayed before, like with like regular clothes, but nothing like full, possibly fur outfit with a helmet and no one can ever see my face.
Yeah.
Like, we had like a movie premiere or something, maybe, but like, at the moment, let's squash that idea.
All right, movie premiere. If Seven Tangy Mustard has a movie, I'm bringing this up.
Jeez, an hour of that,
Yeah.
man.
You could do it for like 10 minutes, do it for photos, and then take it off. um, sorry, I just had my question down there. Um, who is your favorite character and why?
My favorite character?
Hmm.
I'm gonna go unorthodox here, and or orthodox if you know me well enough. The subpar sirens. They're in the
Ooh.
convention episode, and why? Everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, do you like Solo? Do you like Tangy Mustard or Katie?" It's like, no, 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 no. Subpar sirens. Um,
I love that answer.
because they're inspired by my favorite group, my favorite music group, Perfume, who are a Japanese pop group, and I think Aaron rotoscoped some of the scenes for that, so that's why like some of the scenes look really smooth. And yeah, Aaron and I, we both like Perfume. We both saw them many times. Me a bit more than him. I think I saw them. I have to count. I have a list of concerts I go to, like a tracker. I probably saw them like 8 times. Flew to Japan like twice to see them.
What? That's awesome.
Yeah, no, like I really do love it. And then they came to Toronto, so it's like, oh, okay, I don't have to fly this time. And then I ended up flying a few days later to see them in like Chicago.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool though.
Yeah, yeah, and funny thing on that point, in the episode for Katie's birthday, there's actually a scene. There's no dialogue, but there is a scene where Tangy Mustard is like socializing with random people, and he's like drinking, and there's actually a girl who I don't think you really see elsewhere, who looks like one of the members of Perfume, and I keep telling Aaron's like, yo, Aaron, you gotta put in some Perfume characters in this show. It's like you gotta do it, or else I'm not gonna do this show anymore. So he did oblige to put Nochi in. Told him to put a different character, but he didn't yet.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's awesome. That's actually one of my favorite scenes of Tangy Mustard is when he's watching them and he goes like he like grabs it and like that was such a great moment.
I won't get into the background of that, inspiration. But yeah, let's just say Aaron and I have been through a lot together,
Oh
and he doesn't have to think too far to get a lot of ideas for Tangy Mustard in this show.
I love it. Tangy Mustard is the best.
Oh god.
The show takes place in Canada, and it's real places that are drawn, which is really cool. I saw that at the convention. It literally looks, just for everybody to know, it literally, you can look outside and then you look at the show and it looks exactly the same. You're from Canada. Is there a place you hope Aaron has the show take place that he hasn't yet?
Well, I mean, I feel like Aaron, what makes the show really good is like not just the fact that it takes place in Toronto, but because Aaron, was born and raised in Toronto, that there's a lot of small details and nuances that he would include that most animators, like if you tell a different animator that never lived in Toronto to draw Toronto, they'll probably draw the stereotypical stuff, CN Tower, Young and Dundas or something.
Yeah.
But Aaron gets into random intersections or key details on the streetcars. So I feel like any location that he would animate next should be a place that he has been to. So, personally, put it in Japan. We've been to Japan together. Um, I always keep bringing it up like, hey, like let's do an episode that takes place like where we have to be outside of Toronto for some reason. And you've been to Japan, I think multiple times, so I think you have some nuances that you would be able to add when you draw that. So I like to see that. I like to see Tokyo, Osaka, or if you want to stray off the beaten path, we can do Himeji, Kanazawa, cities that maybe that's not commonly animated.
That would be. Yeah, maybe like Tito gets a gig there.
Yeah. Like maybe it's like, oh yeah, we got to jet set it to Kanazawa to go perform, to open up for perfume or something.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
That'd be great.
The mad.
Sorry, the subpar sirens, the Japanese subpar sirens.
Yeah, Kevin, get it right.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to see Tangy Mustard do, even if you know it's not possible?
If it's not possible, I mean,
it could be possible. Just anything you want to see him do.
There's so many things in the show that's possible, but I think, like looking outside of the show, I think I'd like to see some crossovers with maybe another, webtoon. Like we have a very big following on Newgrounds, as I mentioned, and at the Newgrounds meetup, there were a lot of passionate fans about it. They're saying like, a lot of fan art, a lot of racy fan art too. That's interesting. But yeah, I'd like to see something, us showing up in a different show. I know Ninja Muffin. He's the guy that made Friday Night Funkin'. We're like background characters in his game, which is really popular. But I'm thinking like, it's like we gotta be, one of the playable characters. We gotta be at the forefront of something.
Yeah.
Something like that would be cool. Something like that would be really cool.
That'd be super awesome. Because of Newgrounds, like people being on the platform. I know everything's independent, but I don't know about Newgrounds. You could do crossovers, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of collaborations, like, with artists. Like, if you watch some of the videos and you look at the credits, there'll be, like, 20 different artists involved. And sometimes they're just, like one off the top of my head, there'll be some videos where, like, everybody, like, animates, like, a 5-second bit, but then they connect it all together to form a proper episode. So, like, animation style completely changes every 5 seconds, but it's still the same coherent script. So it makes for a very interesting experience, and I think there's like a lot of collaborations I've seen on Newgrounds, so I'd love to be part of it. And I've been on Newgrounds for like, Jesus Christ, 15, 20 years. Just me as a viewer, never really contributed until Sublo.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's like really cool. So like you got to like go from like being a fan of Newgrounds to being like, that's my voice.
Yeah. I mean, at the Newgrounds event, actually, the guy that that created Newgrounds, Tom Fulp, it's like he's kind of like a legend, or he's a legend in the Newgrounds because he created it. It's like, yeah, man, it's like this is, I got a chance to meet him. He came up to Toronto, and we got to talk a bit, and he's a fan of Sublo and Tangy Mustard, so it really is crazy. World comes in full circle, and just. For me admiring Newgrounds, for two people in Newgrounds admiring me. It's crazy. That would
be insane. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. He's a statement in animation. I mean, he made a big deal with Newgrounds. Like,
yeah, definitely. I mean, he has his own gaming studio. Alien Hominid. I think he just released a new Alien Hominid game like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, jeez.
So it's crazy because I still remember when that first came out as a Flash game, and everybody loved it. Like Newgrounds was a free thing. A lot of teens went on it, and teens didn't have money, so to get like a fully fleshed out game was very impressive. And then for him to go from that to like, oh, it's gonna be on the PS2 and Xbox. That's like, wow. Tom is gonna make it big, and now it's like people are still talking about it. Now it's on the PS5. Like what? So it's crazy how far Newgrounds has come.
That's awesome. That's so cool. And you're like, I got to see it all. E- Okay, you guys just had the convention in New York. Is there
Yep.
anything else similar coming up for the cast?
Mm, let's let me see. Let me see. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes here.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
But yeah, I mean, before I get into that, I just want to give a special shout outs to the animation block party in Brooklyn. You know, thank you, Casey, for flying myself and everyone else out there. And you know, if he decides to host one again next year, you know, for those in the New York region, please check it out. Uh, I don't know if he's gonna do another Sublo and Tangy Mustard exclusive panel like he did this year, but if there is another one for some reason, like you know, he just really loves us,
He
we'll definitely
should.
be there. We'll definitely be there. But so, going back to your question, if there's another festival coming up, like I mentioned, we did have the Newgrounds Toronto meetup that happened before the animation block party, and you know, it was like a. That's funny because the meetup, there's like a list on Newgrounds, like you know, people can sign up and say like, oh, these are the people like I'm gonna be attending for sure,
Mhm.
and there was like a baker's dozen, you know, like 13, 14 people attending. I was like, all right, this is gonna be a small get together. It'll be intimate, cool. I show up and there's like 150 people. They just didn't sign up.
Ooh.
It was huge, and like the intent was, you know, we all get together to mingle, and Ninja Muffin booked a local theater to showcase all these Newgrounds animation. You know, Solo and Tangy Mustard was one of them. So we were just all there watching in theaters at a small theater, all these animations, and it was a great time. And you know, I had a blast. It was meeting all like not just fans, but just people that are like involved with Newgrounds and be like, oh, you're that person. I watched that video like 10 years ago. It's like, you're still making videos. So I had a blast. From my
Yeah.
understanding, there's going to be another Toronto meetup next year. And, you know, if I'm in town, I'll definitely be in attendance. So for those listening, any Toronto listeners out there, keep an eye out for another Newgrounds event.
Oh, that's so exciting. All right, all right. Do you have any voice tips you can share?
So you kind of cut off there for a second. What
Oh,
did you say?
sorry. Do you have any voice tips you can share?
Voice tips. Just drink water. Stay hydrated. I love water. I like to add some Pocari Sweat. You know, it's some electrolytes, which is low in sugar, unlike other popular electrolyte drinks in the market. But I will shill for Pocari Sweat. Um, and also just like there'd be some scenes where Aaron would want like a certain emotion out of me, and it's one thing to just visualize it in your head, but sometimes that's not enough. So usually on my phone, I'll just play a video of something that should be invoking this emotion out of me. Uh, I want to get into details what it was, what video or what scene. Aaron knows, Aaron knows, and Elizabeth, and it'll stay between us. But yeah, just having a video element to help bring something out of you could help. But yeah, water, lots of water.
That's a interesting one. I like the video one. I haven't heard that one. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's smart. Lots of water though, yeah. Do
Yeah,
you ever do
definitely.
like hot water too, or is it just like
No, 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 no. When it comes to drinks, I'm more of a cold drinker kind of guy. So it's like
okay?
it just kind of like cools you down. It kind of wakes you up a bit. I feel like hot drinks just makes you very tired, maybe lazy. It's like it's too comforting.
Yeah, I actually understand that 100%.
Yeah, I
I
would
love
avoid that.
tea, so yeah.
Hmm. What's your favorite tea?
Mm, right now, at the moment, I'm mixing green and black.
Oh, okay.
Pretty
Yeah,
basic, but that's what I'm doing like all the time.
yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I love green tea. That's standard go to. One of my friends, very very sweet friend from LA, she signed me up as a gift. She got me like a team subscription service, for like
Ooh.
2 months. So like yeah, like every time they send you like a like it's one of those like kind of like a blind box, but it's not a box. It's just an envelope of
Yeah.
a lot of different teas, and they're like mixing a lot of different flavors too. Like flavors like I was like this won't work out. This is gonna taste awful. Like licorice with some like
Ooh.
maple syrup or something. But like it actually like in tea form, it comes out really well. So um, really interesting services they got if you like tea.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. I love tea.
Yes.
Licorice, though. I mean, I'm sure you're right, but
I don't like licorice. Like I cannot stand it. But
neither
in
do I.
tea form was surprisingly decent.
Wow. All right, I'm gonna have to take you up on that. I'm gonna have to try that,
Yeah.
and then I can run to you if I don't like
I would
it.
not buy it again. I wouldn't buy it again just because there's so many better teas. But it's like
Mm.
I don't have to throw this out. This tastes pretty decent.
Have you kept up with the SAG AFRA stuff at all, or has that kind of been, because you're not in the industry?
Well, I mean, I'm not in the industry, but I'm a movie enthusiast. I have friends that work in the movie industry, so
Exactly. That's
it does
why.
come up.
That's what I
I
thought.
mean, like, of course, I mean, like, I'm not a part of it, but I'm very happy for those that are in unions in that union and fighting for what they believe is right. And like, like to me, it's like money is one thing, but it's like it's really the AI stuff that really bothered me. So I'm really glad that I don't think it's been fully settled yet. I think it's just like there's just like a preliminary offer that's put out, so it's nothing. It's set in stone until like next week or something.
Yeah.
But like if that does go through, like I hear there's a lot of like protections around AI likeness. That one really like especially like AI likeness in perpetuity. That's weird. I'm really glad that can't be done. Hopefully anymore.
Yeah, they like just they I don't know if it was passed. I have to do more research on it, but right before I called you, I found it and people are talking about apparently something got I don't know if it got passed or if they're just talking about it, but it's where AI got like it's something where they can use your voice, but it's because like you signed a form.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah. It's a weird thing. Like I think it's more so with up and coming actors and actresses where like they don't know the business. They just sign away whatever is in front of them.
yeah.
No lawyers to review it. And it turns out you signed your likeness away for life. And now like not like they're gonna make a whole movie around you, but like they could toss you in like as a background actor.
Yeah.
And you won't be compensated more for that. And that's just a weird like yeah, one thing is like you should be compensated for your likeness, but also that they don't have to go to you again to use your likeness. That's really weird. So
I would freak out if like I was watching something that I was not a part of and then all of a sudden I heard my voice. Like I'd be like, "What?" Like
yeah, and it's like like you don't know what you're going to be a part of too, right? What if it's something
that's
that's
true.
like you know very taboo in nature, something political or religious or something like that doesn't align with your beliefs. That's really dicey area that can get into. So um, yeah, it's good that they're fighting for that kind of protection because like it's not even like an active thing, right? Like imagine if somebody else just did that, did it to you and I. Someone just took my voice and just did something,
Yeah.
did a commercial with it. That would be weird.
Exactly. No, it's so true. Oh man. Well, hopefully it won't go further.
I mean, I'm not in a union, so I mean, I'm still kind of screwed.
Yeah, I know. I know. That's how I am too. I'm like I'm keeping up, but at the same time, it's like, ooh. Do you ever get burnout with voice acting?
um, well, no, because I don't do enough of it to
Okay.
to say like, oh boy, like there's so much voice acting to do. I'm so exhausted. But it's a good question because I'll speak on burnout in general because it can happen
Okay.
to anyone, anywhere in any industry, and I've been burnt out in the past, just in my professional career, and I think it's more so when I was younger and trying to be a people pleaser. I'm just trying to be like a yes man, yes, 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 I can do that. I'll make everyone happy. People were gonna see that I'm such a go getter, and turns out, yeah, that's probably a good cause of burnout because, you're not really respecting your own boundaries and limits. Like, you know, and people are not going to respect your boundaries because they don't even know you had one. You're just saying yes. So I think just a general thing is, and this took me a long time to figure out, is learning to say no. It's okay to say no as an answer to things. It's like, or and then not to say like no and then the conversation stops, but just let's say if somebody approaches you, say, hey, I like you to work on this. Like, let's say someone came to you like, I want you to voice this character, but you already got five, six voicing things to do that day. You can say no, but how about another day? Or is that, or to yourself, is this voice acting opportunity more important than another voice acting I've had scheduled? So I think it's just learning about your priorities, learning to say no, and just learning to walk away, because I think that just sets up healthy boundaries, and just it gives you that personal time back. Taking the time to rest, taking the time to do what you enjoy, and it doesn't even have to be like what you enjoy. It's like I also do see just time to yourself is important. You don't have to be productive. You can just sleep. You can just sit down on the couch and go watch a movie, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay because you don't have to be productive 24/7. You're productive. You sleep for a third of the day. You're probably productive. Like it's the average 9 to 5 person's productive a third of their day. So you got the 1/3 of the rest of your day for everything else in life. Eating, showering. Take the time to, relax. Take the time to treat yourself. Do whatever you want. You already put in the time already. So just, you don't have to use that last third of your life to do something that you already spent a third of your life doing.
I think
You know,
that's really well said.
yeah. Obviously, there's going to be exceptions. Maybe there's like a big project or, some crucial, time sensitive thing coming up. I
Right,
get
yeah.
that. You got to be a bit flexible,
Right.
but, you know, just don't do that every day. Don't make that a habit. Don't let people make that a habit out of you. So, I think that's my tip on burnout.
Yeah, I think that's very well said. I gotta listen to that. um, so how did you meet Aaron? Was it a class?
Well, so we knew of each other in grade 9, like in high school.
Ah, little
Because
bitties.
we just shared. We had similar circle of friends, but we weren't really like talking directly to each other. We're
Okay.
just like people in the group talking with the people we already knew, and they'll like chime in here and there. Um, so we weren't really, and like that's not like an Aaron thing. That's just like, hey, like I didn't meet you directly in my class, so like I don't know what to say to you because I don't know anything about you.
Yeah.
So, in grade 10, our friend circle started to get more closer. We started to talk to each other more. We started sharing. I think we shared an English class. We shared an English class together. We sat next to each other. I think that's just like how the seat assignments were. And from there we were just always talking. It's like, oh hey, you're in that circle of friends we always are in. And then we started talking. We had an area in the back of our English class that we always just talk and be a bit disruptive. And yeah, and then we became better friends since. And yeah, Aaron's a cool guy. I mean, he's a we had a lot more in common than I initially thought. So but with he loves doing animation. I like watching cartoons and animation. Interest in music. We have a lot of common things. So
That's so cool. You guys were little, not ninth grade. That's so awesome. That's awesome.
little. I mean, yeah, it was like God, half a lifetime ago.
I know that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, so it's like it's then that's also a cool thing too, just to see like him working on like if you I'm not sure if you know like Space Goose at the time, his like early animation stuff.
I don't know
And
it very well. I know it because he's told me about it and I looked, but it's not like I'm new into it.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, and it's like you can kind of see, it's like humble beginnings, and he uses like the voice actors are all like people from his high school classes, and it's cool to see like you can kind of you see that potential there already back in high school, that and then to see how far he has gone since, working on BoJack, Tuca, and Birdie, it's like wow, it's like you've made it, like you really turned your passion into something that people will pay you for.
Yeah, and how cool for you, because you literally got to see it go from nothing.
Yeah, of course. Like I'm very proud of him. I'm very happy for what he's accomplished, and honestly, and that's just as a friend, just to be
Yeah.
even a part of, a small thing that he's doing with Sublo and Tangy Mustard. I feel very, thankful for that, because it does. I wouldn't say it has opened like huge opportunities in the world for me, but it has opened up, a new avenue, a new way of like seeing passionate people, just being on the other end of things too. Like I've always been a consumer, and to be a creator in some form,
Yeah.
it's very it's an interesting role reversal.
And you're really good at it too. So like that's another thing is like you're very good at the craft.
Yeah. It's because like I mentioned, like there'd be people that randomly shout out like I hear Tangy Mustard, and I know of at least two Tangy Mustard impersonators. Like they'll try to get
Ooh.
my voice down. They still have ways to go, but it's kind of weird because as you know, the Tangy Mustard voice is just my voice. It's just a Kevin voice. So they're really impersonating Kevin.
Yeah.
That got me really weirded out when I kept thinking about it. It's like, you're not voicing the characters anymore. You're just voicing me.
Yeah,
But
that's a mind
but
trick.
I'm very happy that people are very enthusiastic to want to do impersonations of me and try to show it off.
That's so
So,
cool.
very great to meet these people.
I gotta look that up, see if I can find any on YouTube.
It was like on like Newgrounds, and I think just people like I've met too. Yeah, just yeah.
That
They can't match me though. They can't match me. There's like it's not just Tangy Mustard is not just the voice, and
exactly.
it sounds silly because you don't see him, right? So it's really just the voice, but it's not the voice. It's also what he says, the way he says it, the things that he decides to make like into a broken English phrase. Uh, there's a lot of nuances, and you'd only pick that up if you know me long enough.
Yeah, and like that's what makes him so special. So I love all that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Um, what got you into animation? Like watching. What was like your favorite thing growing up?
Man, so you asked me about this like beforehand, and it
Yeah.
really got me thinking about it because I could say like like the great animations that I really like were like well, say what got me into it. So you're saying just like in general. So I would
Yeah.
say, we had a television station here called YTV and Fox Kids, and they would always play, especially on Saturdays. Like they have like a whole Saturday morning marathon of cartoons and anime, and it starts at like 8 o'clock, and it goes on until 12 on both channels. So I just remember waking up every Saturday, 7 a.m. to marathon all these shows for like 4 hours, flipping through back and forth to see like, oh, like it's like this cartoon's not good, but the one on the other station is good. And sometimes like both stations would air the same episode at different times, and I'd be like, that was a good episode. I'm gonna rewatch it again in half an hour.
Oh, that's so
So,
sweet.
yeah, because this is like before internet was mainstream. Like it was only dial up. It like to download like back then you couldn't even get MP3s. That was like when Napster came out. That was like a revelation. So it took like I still remember Napster. I was downloading some songs, 3 megabytes, and it took like 2 hours.
Oh,
And
jeez.
you gotta make sure your parents don't pick up the phone because that would cut the internet connection. So you're gonna be like, Mom, I'm downloading a song. Don't call. So it's just it was the Wild West at times. So it's like whatever shows and cartoons they had on TV, it's like that could be your only chance of watching it. You don't know if they're gonna
Yeah.
air it again. Like especially for smaller shows, so you got to watch it. And
Yeah.
Blockbusters, it was a for those that don't know, Jesus Christ, Blockbuster is like a place at a store that you used to be able to rent movies and shows from. So they had like a cartoon and animation section, but they were more geared towards like 18 plus, more
Mm-hmm.
adult, mature themed, and not like the typical kids cartoons that you would watch on TV. So a combination of that is what got me into it. I would say probably like I want to maybe name drop a show, but because that was probably I want to say like things like cartoon wise was probably like no, I think it was actually probably like Sailor Moon. Sailor,
Ooh.
no, because Sailor Moon was like probably the first big anime like when I was growing up, and like to me it's like you know it was such an interesting concept. Like obviously it's more geared towards females, but it's like I like the concept of like it was beautifully animated. And like the music was pretty cool. And then I realized later it was like a dubbed music. Like I didn't realize the Japanese have their own like music soundtrack, and theirs is like, wow, this is even better. Like this is crazy.
Really? Oh, I have to listen to I haven't even listened to it, so I'll have to listen to it.
Yeah. So it was yeah, and yeah, it was a great show, and like it had like these it had so many things that were like Americanized that I didn't realize. Like it has like these like Sailor Says segments at the end of the episodes where it's like, Sailor says don't do drugs. I was like, yeah, okay, thanks. And I didn't realize like that's not a thing in Japan.
Oh, that's super. That's super
Like,
interesting.
yeah, it's yeah, that was like the first big anime. Like, I think before like my age group, they probably had like Yu Yu Hakusho or something like that, but like they didn't really air that here in Canada. So and then obviously like later on you get like to like Dragon Ball, which is like a Gundam, which really opened my eyes to wow, this is what's gonna sell me on anime.
Oh, that's cool. That's super
Yeah,
cool.
I could talk about Dragon Ball all day. Like hell, I'm actually watching. I know it's been done airing for a while, but I'm watching a Dragon Ball Super,
Oh.
and it's a continuation off of Dragon Ball Z. And it's funny because we referenced Dragon Ball Super in one of the Sublo episodes. Probably one of the few cultural references that we were willing to make. And yeah, it's I mean, so far the start of the show isn't the best, but I heard it picks up in the third arc, so to speak, which is where I'm starting. So it's just great to see like these are the franchises that I grew up with as a kid. This is what got me into like develop my passion for animation, and to see it still around, and not like around in like they're past their prime, but around in like it's capturing a new audience. It's capturing the old audience. It's bigger than ever.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Same can be said for Sailor Moon. Like they just did like a whole remake like 2 years ago,
Mm.
and it's crazy that these franchises are still around, bigger than ever.
That's the one good thing about animation is that they don't age.
I mean, I mean,
Well, I mean
I
the
agree.
characters. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
the characters, they
oh,
literally don't age. That's
oh,
what I
yeah,
meant.
the characters literally don't age. Yeah, I was like, some of the themes they talk about maybe age.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
ages. But like,
Yeah.
you're still gonna have Sailor Moon from 20 years ago, the same look.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with few exceptions, but yeah, for the most part,
Yeah.
yeah, that has been a thing. I know I can say for like Pokemon, certain Pokemons have some look updates over the time. I'm not gonna say who. If you know who, you know. You know, but
Bugs you?
well, people that follow Pokemon enough, they know which Pokemon had their looks updated for the better. I assume.
Jeez. I used to be livid Pokemon player when I was younger. I had a binder full of all my Pokemon. I was very serious. Yeah, very serious.
Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh! Yes.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, we were big on Yu-Gi-Oh! Digimon's probably one of my favorite animes of all time.
Digimon's
like,
good.
You know, like everyone, like, it's always that debate on like Pokemon or Digimon, Pokemon, Digimon.
Yeah.
And you know, Pokemon was a lot more mainstream, and it had the cards, which were better. And it was like, but eventually, Pokemon to me was like, as much as I loved it and the world that it created, it was always the same thing. Like, there was no overarching story. It's like, except for like, oh, Ash Ketchum wants to be a Pokemon master. It's like, didn't he just become a Pokemon master like last year? Like, he's been doing this for a long time. But like, Digimon was a lot more like, there was a lot more nuances. There's like a proper villain. There's a lot of serious themes that it covers, and I like that. Like, it dived into that. Like, you know, like Digimons die. You know, Digimon sacrifice themselves for their loved ones. It's like, what's like, what happens in Pokemon? Oh, like Misty just wants to get Ash to get her a new bike. Like, wow, is that as serious as it gets?
That's pretty true, actually.
Yeah, so I think as like when I was much younger, Pokemon was more appealing, but as I started to grow up and wanted more from a show, shows like Digimon, and every season had its own different thing, was giving me what I wanted.
Oh, I think I'm gonna watch Digimon now. Now that like I'm older and everything, that actually sounds super interesting.
I mean, I would just start from the beginning. Like season 1 is like obviously a classic for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Season 2 is a direct sequel, which it's been a while since I've watched it, but it wasn't my favorite at the time. And then season 3 was like a whole different like set of characters, different like I guess a different world in a sense. But that was like much darker. And I think like because like the person that wrote the story for that, he wrote on like other dark stories for other animes like Serial Experiment Lane and stuff. So I don't know how he got on Digimon, but it was like significantly more darker, and I was like, wow, you know, like, you know, you can take like a childish, what is perceived as a childish show and turn it into a very serious show. So I really like that.
I'm definitely gonna check this out now. Yeah, because I never watched it like that. Like I watched Pokemon, but I did watch Digimon, not like I did Pokemon. Mm-hmm. So I never followed through with the story. And now I'm kind of like, ooh, because you are right. Pokemon just repeats itself.
Just repeats. And the thing with Digimon, like, if you ever do get into it, like, the serious stuff is all, like, from the Japanese dubs. Like, they have their own scripts. Because, like, the American, they wanted to lean more into, you know, kind of like that Pokemon audience where it's like, oh, it's all fun and happy. You know, there's some occasional stuff that happens. But the Japanese, they play it straight. They play it straight with the dialogue. They play it straight with the scenes they show. Like, I think there's, like, one scene, just off the top of my head, with one villain. And in the Japanese dub, like, he would, like, has a monologue about how the humans kind of took everything away from him as a Digimon. Like, kind of taking away his rights, in a sense.
Aww.
And in the English dub, it's just, like, how, like, they just take his pizzas. I was like, what?
Whoa, they really went...
It's funny in context, but, like, and when you start comparing the two, it's just, like, thought of this.
That's strange.
Not to say the pizza dubs were bad. It's like, it worked for the audience.
Yeah.
But, like, it's... interesting stylistic changes, like very drastically different.
Yeah, that's like depression and then like like, you know, like that's a total difference right there.
Yeah.
Jeez. Deep sadness compared to pizzas.
Yeah, pizzas are sad too if someone took away my pizzas.
I mean, yeah, that is sad, but like, jeez. I mean, I guess they made it super deep. Must have been his real favorite pizzas or something. Jeez. What do you have? I can't talk. Is Sailor Moon or Digimon your favorite, or do you have a favorite? Another favorite?
Well, I mean, I would say overall, like, I mentioned Dragon Ball, and I think Dragon Ball as a franchise is my favorite because of, like, how far it's come, how much they have done, and, there's been some missteps, but it's always been a relevant anime for, what is it, 30 years now? And it's
Yeah, it's a
still
long
finding
time.
ways to uh, reinvent itself in a way, and like not in terms of like, oh yeah, like they were Super Saiyan whatever color now, which I mean they do that a lot, but there's a lot of character development, a lot of character interactions, a lot of fan service. That's like it's fun. It's fun, and it's like
Yeah.
it's still fun. But besides those, main ones, I'm sure people would say like, "Oh, Kevin is just into mainstream anime." I'll be like, "No, no, no. I watch the most obscure stuff too." So, I think people know Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That's a great one. Um, some that people might not know as much, but I know Aaron would always. You bring this up around Aaron, he will not stop talking about it. Ping Pong. Ping Pong, the anime, is it's one of my favorites because it's only like 11 episodes. But in that 11 episodes, it manages to flesh out every single character in the show, like major and minor characters. It has like a very straightforward story. Music is great. Um, I never got into it initially because like the art style was very rough. And I was like, oh, this anime is not going to be great. The art looks like crap, but it's it turns out this is how the manga looked like, and
Interesting.
the animation is amazing. So people that never watch Ping Pong, definitely a short but worthy watch. Uh, Hajime no Ippo, it's a boxing anime which they need to make more of. Uh, the manga's been ongoing for like 40 years. Uh, it's still ongoing, and it's getting very good in the manga right now. So it'd be great to see an anime adaptation. Um, I'm trying to think. Another obscure anime, Technolize or Technolize, whatever it's called.
Hmm.
It's like a very utopian, post-apocalyptic anime. Um, very nihilistic, very depressing, and it kind of showed me like, wow, like animes like can get very deep, dark, and not always have like a happy ending. It's it left a lot for me to think about. It's like, is
That-
is humanity worth it? Like, that's what it comes. That's the show really. Like, what it comes down to is humanity worth saving? And uh, the show makes a lot of points and counterpoints about that. So uh, definitely a watch for people that really don't like their lives or something.
hmm. That's a deep question.
Yeah. So I mean, and the show does yeah, it doesn't really give you like, oh, this is the answer. It makes you think. It's a show that makes you think, and I love shows that do that. Like they don't always have to spoon feed you answers. Like a show that gives you something that you walk away from and you're still thinking about it like years later. It's a great show.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah, you're talking about that, and like that sounds exactly like how BoJack was for me.
Yeah, yeah. Like you can say that like you could like and depending on where you are in your life at that moment when you're watching it, it's like you could take more or less away from it
100%.
because of the meanings and the deeper meanings that it gives off. But on a happier note, if I want like some stupid fun with some elements of seriousness, Dragon Ball, it's it's always like I can turn that on. It's just like, all right, is Goku gonna save the day? No, it's gonna be Gohan. He's the strongest in the universe, but doesn't do crap. Uh, it's fun. It's fun, and also just want to speak on that too. Just I'm gonna go on a Dragon Ball rant here.
Yeah.
That like, I'm a big Dragon Ball fan, Dragon Ball Z fan specifically. But there's just so many different ways you can watch it too, because like, well, there's like Dragon Ball is like a few hundred episodes. It's long, and there's a lot of filler. So in Japan, they made a recut version about 10 years ago. I think they got it down to like 80 episodes, where like they got rid of all the filler. Goku isn't charging the Spirit Bomb for 6 episodes. It's like it's done in the same episode.
Ooh.
They and it's good for newcomers, but it kind of takes away that nostalgia from me. But
Yeah.
it's good that like there is that option available, and then on top of that, you start to get into the dubs because Dragon Ball. Well, obviously there's like the English and Japanese dubs, but in English there were multiple English dubs done. There's specifically two, like with the Ocean dub and the Funimation dub. Um, the Ocean dub was like dubbed in Canada. The other one, I think it's predominantly American. Don't know the specifics on why they did that, but they aired both in Canada because we had like both Canadian and American stations. So it's crazy. Like you could watch the same episodes, but then the different dub actors would give a different interpretation of the scene. And so I could rewatch the same episode 3 times, and I could have 3 different experiences. And it's something like, yeah, it's like I love it enough to to do that. And it's and also gonna go on another tangent on that too, because with Dragon Ball, uh, Japan, I think they only had the one Japanese dub, but they have a crazy story, and this is all, um, saved by the fans. So in Japan, they have the dub, they air it on TV, and then they release it on box sets. Well, it turns out the Toei Animation, uh, they scrubbed their masters, so they lost the audio masters for Dragon Ball. So whatever's on the home media, and that's like a common thing, just because like it was like they do the show, they need the space for the next show. They didn't think Dragon Ball is gonna be relevant for 40 years, so they scrubbed the audio masters. So whatever is left on like the home releases, it sounds like crap. It sounds really bad if you listen to it. It sounds, but people get like, oh, that's how it sounded on TV. It's like when from the TV speakers, it's muffled. It sounds crackly. I was like, sure, I guess if that's your take on it. But now this is where the fans come to the rescue, and this is not on home release for some reason. Um, some television stations in the Kanto region in Japan, they had the original audio masters like at their television station, and they're still like airing Dragon Ball as reruns with the original audio masters, which sounds amazing. It's like clear, clean, um, and it's only broadcasted. It's not available for purchase, which is insane. So there's like one fan in Japan, a singular fan, who spent 6 years. I don't know if he like recorded just from the TV or
Oh
like
my.
or he went to the station to get some episodes, but he recorded all like 200 something episodes just for the clear audio. And then there's like a fan community project where they take that audio and they sync it up with the DVD sets to get the better videos. And so now there is like a fan collection of um, you know broadcast audio, which sounds amazing, and you can still select their DVD audio, which you should never at this point.
Yeah.
And you can also pick like the different English dubs, like the Ocean dub, the Funimation dub, the different music soundtracks, and this is all like done by the fans for the fans, and for free, of course. And it's unbelievable that like the studios don't release an official release, and it comes down to passionate people
Yeah.
that has to do this. So yeah, long-winded rant about Dragon Ball, and praises to the fan community. I gotta rewatch that now. So
That's
and
actually super cool.
yeah, and then if you're like if you want to go extreme, there's other like if you want like a Filipino English audio, or you want to listen to it in Vietnamese or something, that's available too. So there's so many ways to rewatch it.
That's actually really cool. Yeah, I mean like 40 years, like however many years, it's a long time. Hopefully by then you can get all the languages.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just like I'm big on like archiving and preservation. Like I'm like one of my side hobbies is like I collect a lot of music CDs, and I like to blind buy CDs, knowing that like, but I check ahead of time. Is it available on streaming? Is it easily purchasable on like a store, or anything of that sorts? And if the answer is no, I'll buy it because it
Right.
seems like, you know, to me, it's like this could be the CD that could like open up my eyes and ears to a new genre or a new artist.
Hmm.
And like it could be like it's only like $2 or something, and I'll be like, all right, this could be it. And and Aaron can attest. I found some great stuff. I found some weird stuff, and I found some awful stuff. Like one of the better purchases, debatably better. I was at a store called BMV. They're was it Books, Music, and Video? I don't know what it stands for,
Oh
but it's
yeah, I actually knew that store.
oh, I didn't know that's a thing down there.
Yeah, no, or it's that has to be the same thing because it's literally books, music. It literally has to be
Yeah,
the same
it's
thing.
like a book off. It's like a book
Mhm.
off that like you can buy like used or clearance CDs and books and whatnot.
Yep.
So yeah, so they have like a whole aisle of like cheap CDs, and it's like, oh, like $2-3, sure. And one time I bought a CD and it was like there's X-Men on the cover. And I was like, oh, okay, it's probably like a soundtrack, but it's like it was like exclusively sold in Japan. There's no like information about it. I was like, this is really weird for like a Marvel like officially licensed like music CD. And
Yeah.
I bought it, and it ended up being like and it's in English despite being in like released in Japan only. And it ended up being like Professor X rapping or like
What?
random like it was so random, and like with like dance beats. I was like, this is amazing, and it's so stupid. And I'm glad I got the opportunity to buy the CD, digitize it. Um, Maybe I'll upload it somewhere. Actually, maybe not. That's illegal potentially, but maybe it finds its way online by some anonymous benefactor. Uh, but yeah, there'd be other CDs too that I buy where it's like I never seen this before, and I saw like one of the song titles. It's so long that I can't even type it in the computer because
Oh.
it's like 90 words, but that's a single song title.
What?
I think it's like the lyrics to Love Boat Show or something. It was so random. And so I was like, all right, the CD's gonna be great. I listened to it, and it's just uh, like you ever listen to the radio, but you don't select the radio station properly? You get like a lot of static.
Yeah.
So that's the song, but there's like random instruments in the background too,
What?
like with beats. Yeah, I was like, what the hell is this? And like that's what the CD is. It's like different static sounds with beats. And
Was there
I was
any
like,
singing?
no. I mean, unless singers sing static,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it's like I don't know how I feel. Like this doesn't open my eyes to anything. So, um, yeah, that's But yeah, I like to purchase. I have like my whole music collection right here.
That's
Uh,
so cool.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I love music. I love movies. I love going to concerts now.
Do you
Um,
collect DVDs too, or just music?
well, I collect mainly music because I find, well, one, like vinyls is in. I don't collect vinyls. So
Okay.
CDs, because nobody's buying them, are very cheap. So that's why it's a pretty cheap hobby for me. DVDs, Blu-rays, like of movies or shows, I don't buy as much because they're they're already things that are easily available online.
Okay,
Like
that makes sense.
like your streaming services or whatnot with all these streaming services. I can rant about that, Jesus Christ. But it's available in some form. So it's not really rare, and it's not like it's some media that's gonna be lost in time.
Right.
So I'm more concerned with this is a CD that's probably like limited indie based, and you know no one's uploaded it. No one. It's not on YouTube, and it'll be a shame if it's very good, but no one can hear it. I don't like that idea. Like I said, I'm big on archiving. I'm big on like there's a lot of projects online for like other things like this, like Internet Archive, um, GeoCities Archive. I'm not even sure if you know what GeoCities is. It's by before Jesus Christ. I'm talking to a different generation here. Yeah, for the audience out there, yeah, GeoCities was like it was a way for people that can build their own websites back in the 90s and early 2000s,
Oh, okay.
and and it was like the Wild West. It wasn't like there was a template of what a website should look or function, and like there wasn't even a theme, like a site that you can like click and drag or anything. You had to like type it all out in HTML code,
Oh.
and it can come out like it's very manual. So because of that manual process, it's very every site has a very unique look to it. So and there's like a lot of like bad website etiquette because of that. Like there was no etiquette at the time. So
Yeah.
blaring music when you click on a page, pop-ups, uh, randomly like prompting you for like type in the password before you can enter my site. Like a lot of like weird things. Like ne- there's a website now called NeoCities, which is trying to. It's like a modern version of that that's trying to bring back like it's like a throwback to GeoCity days, but with a more modern flair. If you want an understanding of what it kind of used to look like, but
Hmm.
but yeah, like those archive projects, like I really am like adamant about because like I there's a lot of stuff that I had like data wise that's lost through time now. That's lost through time because you know hard drives, floppy disk, CDs they wear out.
Yeah.
They deteriorate. So I got a funny story. I got a funny story if you don't mind.
No, not
Uh,
at all. Tell me.
so there's an application called Paint.net. It's like a you know it's a alternative to Paint. But for people that don't want to pay for Adobe. And
Okay.
yeah, so it's a good app. It's a good app. So there's a streamer. I'll name drop him. Macaw45. Great streamer. He likes to stream old retro games or obscure games on disc from like Russia or whatever. He's fun streamer, and so he'll be streaming a bunch of games. And there's this one game called Golden Flute 4, and it's a very rudimentary like DOS game from the like, 90s, made by Rick Brewster,
Okay.
and it's like has voices. It's like it's not bad. Like it's obviously done by a kid because the voice lines were all kid sounding.
No.
So it was a very impressive like kids game, probably for like a high school project or something, or grade school project even. So, um, but when somebody mentioned like when it came up that says it's made by Rick Brewster, the person that developed the application Paint.net, which is a very popular app by the way, his name is Rick Brewster, and so it's like what are the odds that it's the same person? Because this is like 30 year gap at least. So multiple people would ping the developer, hey, is this you? Did you create this game called Golden Flute 4 back in the 90s? And it turns out, um, well, yes, he did.
Oh.
And secondly, he thought to him it was lost in time because um, he only gave one copy. Like he didn't sell anything because it wasn't. I don't think it was sold. It was just like a fan project.
Yeah.
And he only gave one copy to his like brother or his cousin or something, and all the copies he had were gone. Like they were like thrown away. So it was something that he always wanted to see again, but it's like the internet wasn't a thing. The only copy he had was given away, and everything else was destroyed. So in his mind, for 30 years, it's gone. It doesn't
Yeah.
exist. But it turns out his family member um, was distributing that game like on like BBS, which is kind of like an internet forum, I guess, in a sense, back in the day, like distributing the games, and it ended up on like these collections of games on a disc,
Oh.
and nobody knew. Like his Rick Brewster didn't know, his family member didn't know, because like somebody else took it upon themselves to do that. So when it was brought to his attention about this, like he rediscovered his game. He thought it's like he should have archived it back in the day, but it wasn't a mentality at the time. So like that's a nice story, and that's kind of going back to why I like archiving is because there's a lot of times where great things that has meaning to someone can just disappear. Even though it's digitized, it can just disappear.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of like taking the proper steps, like like what was it, the Library of Alexandria. It's like it's a huge shame that it burnt down. Probably the biggest library of all time in the world. um, it's historically been talked about for generations, millenniums even.
Yeah.
So ideally, we don't want something like that to happen again. So it's important to archive, um, big or small, because you never know. It might mean something to someone.
Yeah, and it's a piece of history, whichever way you look at it. I mean, whatever it's about, it still is a piece of history.
Exactly, and it's a history to someone.
Yeah, that's
Sorry, sidetracked significantly.
no, that's actually super interesting. I mean, and it's even more like kind of like special in a sense too, because like, I mean, 9 out of 10 times that's gonna be your voice, like your like that's gonna be like really cool things for to be archived. That's not just like a oh here's like, I mean sure music that you make too, but like it's your like that's really cool. I do like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind, if I want to speak on this a little bit more actually, because like
Go
this is
ahead.
like something personal that came up. So I'm getting to that point in my life where it's like, like I said, I love archiving. I personally archive stuff, and it's like I start to look back, at my life, and there's like ups and downs, of course, but it's like I have nostalgia for times in my life, periods that I might not even remember.
Yeah.
So about last year, I found a bunch of like family VHS and digital 8 tapes. Because my dad, when I was younger, he bought a camcorder, and it was like really expensive at the time, and like expensive to the point where it's like, and nobody had it. That like people would like get into the video because they want to know what is that device, because
Aw.
like nobody. So he would record everything. Like I think like the trend nowadays when people record, and I do this personally, and like don't judge. I record concerts for archiving purposes.
Mhm.
Like I feel like everybody is recording for like a purpose. Like I'm recording to put something on Instagram or Snapchat, or like I'm recording a moment of like some their kids are walking or something. Like it's all like purpose driven.
Right.
But back in the day, like my dad would just record everything. He was like, he's in the car getting a lift to Toronto. He would just record that. He would just record the scenery, just because like it's such a gimmick to just record it.
Mhm.
And so like I bring this up because so I was getting the tapes, and like I bought all this equipment to digitize the tapes because I'm afraid like they'll deteriorate, they're gonna be lost, and it's also like I want to be able to share the videos with like other family members too.
Right.
So I was
Definitely.
going through it, and there'll like be like videotapes of like before I was born, or tapes of like from the '90s, shortly after I was born, even early 2000s, and there'd just be like just something very charming about like it'd just be like my dad just walking around Toronto, and Toronto looks drastically different back in the day,
No, I'm
and
sure.
that and it's like at the time of recording, it's like he wasn't thinking, oh man, my son is gonna be nostalgic about this in 30 years. That's why I'm recording. It's just recording Toronto. It's just
Mhm.
recording a stroll in Toronto. How he's just like Halloween events, um, random random selfies, just like on him in like Halloween makeup.
Aw.
Um, also like back he would record things like when he went back to his home country, which is like very rare footage of because like uh, so my family background's Vietnamese,
Okay.
and they opened up their borders to like for people to return back to Vietnam in like the late '80s. So my dad had a camcorder at the time, so he recorded everything, and it turns out like maybe like I have to think about this. So there's very little footage, if at all, of Vietnam at that point because they didn't have the technology in their home country, and because like the borders were just opened, nobody like foreigners typically didn't have anything to record with. So like the
Yeah.
footage I have of Vietnam is like a snapshot in time. Like there's nothing on YouTube about this, and I really debated about like uploading it because this is a point in time where like people would have like very little visuals of, but at the same time there's like a lot of like personal things in it too. Like I don't want to have like random like family members on YouTube, like especially if I didn't add, I mean a lot of them have passed away unfortunately, because footage is that old. I don't know. It's just there's some conflicts about that. So I might have to edit it to just show like the scenic stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's an audience for it really, but I think it's just like whether or not there's an audience, the fact that like like I have something and you can't access it is kind of like unnerving to me because like what if somebody does want to see how Vietnam looked like right after they reopened their borders? Like I think that's kind of significant.
I think that's huge.
Yeah,
That's a huge piece of history right there.
yeah. So it's like yeah, I gotta think about that. But like it is digitized. I just have to like edit it and clean it up. Um, but yeah, like that's my thing. Like I love digitizing. I want to make sure things don't get lost. I need to buy and like you need to have proper equipment too. Like you need decent VCR. I have a great camcorder that can connect to my computer. I had to buy special computer parts to read it.
Oh,
I need
jeez.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's honestly nothing expensive. Like one of the things I really do appreciate about my family is that um, they don't throw away. I mean, they do, but they don't throw away a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like they keep it packed, they keep it pristine. So like the VC, like the tapes, they're all like protected. The VHS players, all like wrapped and protected. I just need to get like a proper cassette deck because there's some like random cassette tapes that like my dad would record music for, and I was like, I never heard this before. Like I don't remember it anymore, and we don't have and like for those that don't know cassette tapes, you have to be very careful of because like players can chew them up. So
Mm.
you need to make sure you have a good cassette player that doesn't chew things up, and they deteriorate too. So it's important to if you're going to digitize it sooner than later. So I'm trying to go find. I go to the thrift store to find some decks. They usually just have some garbage ones, or they don't have it at all. So yeah, very big on that. And yeah, like uh, just looking back too, just like I have hard drives of files on my computer from when back in 2003, computer files. And it sounds stupid. It sounds stupid because it's like, okay, like it'll be like a picture of my desktop from 2003. It has no meaning, no relevance. Like, like there's nothing that it adds in value to it. Like I don't get and like I don't learn anything new. But it still adds this nostalgic thing because like I look at it, I'll be like, I see like the files on my desktop. I'll be like, oh yeah, like that was the time when I was really into that band, or that was the time when I was like, I used to play that game. I used to love that game so much. Or like so like all these like random images, even though like it could be like a game picture, like like a random Neo Geo game or something, like something that's irrelevant. But when I see that and I see the time, it reminds me of, oh yeah, that was the game I was into at the time. That was like something I was passionate about. Like it starts to invoke all these memories that I completely forgot about. So,
Yeah.
like, it sounds like it's very pack ratish. Like, I hate, I don't want to be a pack rat, but like, and I know like anyone that like follows like Marie Kondo or all that stuff. I don't believe in that. Like, I don't believe in like throwing away everything because something that doesn't have meaning now doesn't mean it doesn't have meaning down the line.
That's true. That's
So yeah,
true.
like I'll be like, yeah, you know what? Like let me just let's see here. If you don't mind, I'm gonna look up on my computer right now. Let's see here. Here, I'll do a live example. Uh,
Alright.
here, like I'll be looking here from 2004. I got an image, and it just be like a random image of a like game files, something so stupid. Like if I would upload that, no one's gonna care.
Yeah.
But I look at that and I see like, oh, that's the game I used to play. I was super into that. And then it has a website, and that was a site like, oh yeah, that's where I got like all these games from. Or like, I'll look at it, it'll be like there'll be like a stupid meme here. I'm looking at a random like Arnold Schwarzenegger meme. So it's like, oh yeah, like those are really funny at the time. It's like kind of stupid now, but
Like
like
everything triggers something.
yeah, like and like it's not like if it doesn't trigger something, like okay, like maybe those are the things I would delete. But
Yeah.
like majority of them starts to trigger like, oh yeah, like I used to like with that picture. It's like a chain reaction because it'll be like, oh yeah, like this Arnold meme, it's funny because I liked Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's cool,
Right.
and and be like, oh yeah, that was the picture that I used to upload on this forum. Now I'm start thinking about this forum, and it's like, oh yeah, on this forum, I wonder if it's still around. And I go there, and it's like, it's still there. You know, it's still there after 25 years. It's a cesspool, but it's still there. Um, so it kind of just like strings and strings and strings of connections, and all of this just brings back this wave of emotions, and mostly positive, of course. But I
Yeah.
think even if it's negative emotions, I think it's still important because like it makes me who I am,
Yeah.
and so and that's why I always like try to like whatever I throw out, if I do throw something out, and I'm afraid there might be some meaning down the line, I digitize it. Like I have a professional scan. Like I apologize. I keep going off track on this.
You're
Um,
fine.
so I keep all my school stuff. Or I keep all the school stuff that's relevant. And when I say relevant, it's like projects, report cards, stuff like that. So I still got like schoolwork from when I was like grade 3. I keep like
Oh.
random archive, like and it's like a relatively sized box. Um, but I go through it and it's like I look at it, it's like, oh yeah, it's like this is like I was like learning cursive writing. I was like, this is when I was such an idiot in school and I had to learn. Um, One thing I've been trying to find, I don't know, maybe it might be a bit too political in nature for me to discuss. Um, you know, so one of the things I've been trying to find, but I have it somewhere. I have a letter from George W. Bush, uh,
Ooh.
like signed by him, and this was like after 9/11, and our class was like, obviously 9/11 is a huge tragedy,
Mm.
so our class was writing like letters of condolences, and we addressed it to the White House. Not sure like if that made any sense in retrospect, but like yeah, like we did it as a class project, and we did it like I think within weeks of the incident, the tragic incident, and we got a response. We got a response from the White House, and I was like, oh wow, like this is pretty crazy. It's pretty big, right? And
Yeah.
then it was like a letter of thank you, for if obviously Americans are going through a tough time, this and that, and it was signed off with George W. Bush, and so our class was doing like a raffle of like, okay, like someone's gonna win this letter and the envelope and stuff like that, and I won the letter. I won the letter.
Woo!
So like it was something I have it somewhere. I know I found it one time, but I can't find it again. Um,
That's
but
actually
that's like
really cool.
yeah. I mean, it's uh yeah, it's a cool story, and I would like to digitize it. Like I have a professional scanner, but I gotta find a letter.
Yeah.
so I actually spent like sometimes I spent like a whole week going through like I have so much stuff, so I spent through a week going through like boxes and boxes, and I can't find it, but I know I have it. Like it's something I would never throw out. So, uh, yeah, it's a long-term project for not just that, but just like archiving in general.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, like you never know if it's gonna. And I think something like that might have meaning for like other people too. So, you never know. You really don't know.
I think so. I mean, it is a piece of history, and there are going to be there's going to be someone out there, whatever it's for, they're going to be interested. There's going to be at least one person,
Hmm.
at
Yeah,
least.
and like to me, my mentality is like even if there isn't a person, like that's not the whole point of it. Like the whole point of
Exactly.
archiving is for me. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's for me to be like if my house catches on fire, well, it's on the cloud. It's on the cloud. It's no big deal. It's no big deal.
Wish on the cloud.
It actually all stemmed from when I was younger. I had a hard drive with like a lot of games, rare games
Oh,
that like it took a long time to track down to find online, and I really didn't want to lose it.
yeah.
And suddenly the hard drive just got corrupted, like stopped working. I tried to go through like all these softwares to try to retrieve the data, and I couldn't get the data I wanted.
That was
So
sad.
I was so upset,
Yeah.
so upset. It took me so long. I did manage to get it back like 10 years later,
Oh, good.
elsewhere. But like my idea mentality of archiving all stemmed from that one incident, because like I didn't want to lose something important to me again, especially if it's something that I could have prevented, or at least mitigate. So I started getting more serious into like backups, having like CD backups. Like, okay, like hard drives can fizzle out, so can CDs. But like if I backed it up to a CD and I stored it away somewhere safe and cold, likely it would work 10, 20 years later.
Yeah.
And I tested it. It does. and now, like, especially with the prevalence of cloud storage, I'm big on cloud storage. I'm very big on that. So, you pay a premium, but I work, so I don't care. I got like 3 different cloud storage backups in case like one goes belly up. Not likely they would. Like I go reputable backup stores like Google Google Photo backups. Not the biggest fan of, but they're pretty cheap. I use that. I use Dropbox, which is my daily. Costs more, but it does everything I want.
Mm-hmm.
And Amazon backups, because I have a Prime account and it comes free with Prime. So anyone that uses Amazon Prime, you get free photo cloud storage. Use it, protect it, because I think especially nowadays people need to be more aware of it, because especially like, and I'm gonna put you on the spot, Hannah. I'm gonna put you on blast. I saw your phone. I don't know how it is now, but when I saw your phone, it looked like it went through world wars.
Yes.
Multiple. So that's like, and like for me personally, something similar happened as well, where my phone stopped working. All my photos on the phone I could not access anymore because I did not back it up.
Yeah.
So but like with cloud, like without cloud, before cloud storage, okay, you can say like you didn't have the time or the hassle to plug it into your computer to back it up. Okay, I understand that. But with cloud storage now, and it's done in like real time, there's like no excuse for people losing the photos on their phones now. Especially when like if you have like an Amazon Prime account where it's like you get the service on top for free, or Google itself, they have like a free lower quality version which is still like good enough. Like there's so many avenues that people, because there's so many people I talk to be like, oh yeah, I dropped my phone in the toilet and I lost all my data. It's like, you have a Google phone. Even Apple too, they have iCloud.
iCloud, yeah.
So, yeah, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. Like pay the $20 a month, because like people always complain about I lost my like childhood photos, or I lost the photos of my parents. It's like you could have paid $20 and we would not have this discussion.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
So yeah.
I had to start paying that for my photos because I went overboard. But like, what was I gonna do? Not back them up? Like, no,
yeah.
I'm gonna back them up.
Like especially like if you're working, like is that like if you're not working or if money is tight, okay, like I understand.
Right.
Like it might not be a priority, but if you people have like a job, if you can pay for like a decent phone bill, what's another like $10?
Exactly. Exactly. And I know, like when I first started to have to pay for it, I get it, because it's like really like I'm paying extra for. I get it, but at the same time, at the end of the day, it's not worth it. Like just pay for it. Like just buy it. There's nothing to be like, I should sleep on this. No, just get it.
I think it's just like people think like they're invincible, so like they wait until the first time something bad really happens before they think about it. But then it's too late. You already lost your stuff.
Yeah.
It's like myself and the hard drive. So I think, yeah, people, any listeners, just back your stuff up. There's so many ways to do it. There's so many cheap and free ways to do it. Because it would really suck for someone to be like, I wish I could look back at that photo fondly, and I can't because I dropped my phone in the toilet.
Yeah.
Like of all the things. So, just yeah.
You don't sound pretty smart after saying that story.
I didn't drop the phone in the toilet.
No, not you. Just like anybody. Like, oh hey, like I dropped my phone in the toilet and not backing it up. It's a smartphone, by the way. Like,
yeah.
What are you doing?
I apologize. I went so off track, and you're gonna have a fun time editing this, I'm sure.
Don't worry about it. I like hearing what you're into. I'm really into this.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Thanks to all the listeners. Thanks to all the supporters. I don't have like a Patreon, but Aaron does. So, um, you know, any donations, any support that we can get from people would definitely help out, because we ideally we want to, like, the dream goal is to focus strictly on, like for Aaron to focus on his personal projects. If he doesn't have to do anything else, that's the dream goal.
Yeah.
I mean, good luck getting paid that much through Patreon, but every bit counts. And the money doesn't all go to him and stuff. Like he uses it accordingly to pay the people involved, to help support the show. Like usually my cut of it, I try to just reinvest it back into the show. Usually just so, like, I want the show to be very successful, and whatever it takes, that'd be great. So I'd be like, yeah, you know what, like, let's put it back in. So please support him on patreon.com/Aaron Long. Anything. Oh yeah, and also a lot of, I don't use Twitter often. I'm not big on social media, but I check from time to time, and I've been getting a lot of demands from people on Twitter in person. It's like, where's the Solo and Tangy Mustard merch? Where's this merch? Where's that plushie? Where's the DVD? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, okay, like I get there's like at least a vocal minority that wants stuff, but it's something that we always talk about. It's like, is there something that people can support us in a way, and we can give something back to them, like of tangible good. So Aaron and I are always thinking about that. We're not like ignoring everyone on what they want. It just has to make sense, right? Like, we don't want to make like 10,000 shirts and 5 people buy it.
Right.
And also, like, with like certain items and goods, like t-shirts specifically, actually, like if you were to like go to like a third party and like they make it like ad hoc, like based on demand, our cut would be very minimal. So it's like, I get people want to buy the stuff to support us, but like when we do something like a t-shirt like that, you're not really supporting us, really. Like,
yeah.
We're not at the end of it. So we have to take a step back and see, like, I know people at the end of the day want to support Sublo and Tangy Mustard, so we have to produce something where if there's money, it's supporting us to make more stuff. So, I had some brainstorming ideas. Like, the physical media stuff makes more sense than like t-shirts, because I know how to make the physical media. Like, I know how to make a Blu-ray or DVD. Like, there was like talks of stickers. I mean, this is your sticker for those that have not seen it. We could do some stickers or pins. But yeah, like, it's just, we don't know what the demand is. We don't know what the real demand is. So I think if we were to do some project, we might do like a Kickstarter of sorts, so like people can like buy into it. Like, if it doesn't work out, people get the money back, right? So, but that at least gives us an idea of like, this is what people really want. Like, they want more stickers, they want more buttons, they want DVDs or whatever, and then we can go from there. So
The Kickstarter is a really good idea.
yeah, I know Kickstarter has their own, like, they take their cut too, but like, yeah. So there's a lot of things that like we want to give back. Like, we want to give back to the community that's helped supported us so well.
Just in the smartest way.
Yeah, just in the smartest way. Because like, imagine if like everyone bought our T-shirts, and then we end up telling people, hey, all that money went to the T-shirt company. We got nothing. Like, how does that make someone feel?
Yeah, no. Because they want a merch, but at the same time, they want it because it's the show. Yeah. So I get that.
So it's something we're very cognizant of, and it's not an easy path. So we have to kind of use what we're already skilled at, to maybe do something like, I don't want to say anything concrete yet, but yeah, we do have ideas. Like, a lot of people kept saying Sublo and Tangy Mustard plushies. It's like, man, like, plushies are, 1, expensive, 2, not easy to make, and 3, I've only made 1 plushie in my life, and
oh, you have?
Yeah,
Whew.
there's a reason for that. I won't get into it here. We're kind of gone over time, but yeah, that was like something I've done like as a one-off, and I don't. I feel like if I kept doing more for like, I won't have that same passion when I make it for like
Hmm.
money. And it was like not easy to do. I was like, this was hell to make.
Yeah, I could only imagine because they don't look easy. So if it already looks super hard, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I had ideas of like, there's like there's people that like friends that we could reach out to do it, and like we could give them a cut. Like I'd rather give like someone that we know in our circle of friends to make money rather than like anonymous T-shirt company X to
Yeah.
big pharma or whatever to take the money. So
Big
like
pharma.
yeah, like just like the supplement tangy mustard vitamin pills. Yeah, yeah,
I love that.
just yeah, just finding a ways to make sure that everyone is happy, and we're not quite there yet, but we're planning. We're planning.
You guys will figure it out.
Yeah, I hope so.
Mm.
Yeah, geez, we went an hour 45. Man, that's a much longer than I thought.
Well, you're a lot of fun to talk to, and I missed you.
Yeah, I missed you too. Yeah, you're great to talk to. I think this was a good interview, and yeah, I mean, I always wish you the best for everything in general. Hopefully, your more interviews that you do will, lead to greater success, greater people that you'll meet. I'm sure.
No, not greater, but thank you. I get what you're trying to say, but it's not greater.
Lesser.
I get the sentiment.
Yeah, so I'm very appreciative, getting a chance to speak out, and just I guess a side of me that people might not know about. Like, I never really spoken about the archiving thing
Yeah.
openly like that. So yeah, that's an exclusive scoop for Hannah Four.
Woo! I'm excited I got that out of you.
Yeah, so I'm very glad. Is there anything else on your end you wanted to bring up? Anything that you've missed, I've missed?
No, this was really to hear about you. So this is awesome.
Yeah, no, thank you for giving me this platform to talk. And maybe we do something again down the line. Maybe I'll be in New York. Maybe we'll all be in New York or something.
Yes.
And
Broadway.
yeah, Broadway shows. Yeah, Book of Mormon, right? If that's
Yes.
still playing, if that's still on, maybe it'd be off Broadway by then.
Yeah, who knows?
But yeah, no, it was great. I'm probably gonna go grab some lunch. You know what? I'm gonna go name drop some food. Because I'm debating between. Oh, actually, I'm debating a lot of things. I'm thinking like Halifax Donairs. If you don't know, you know it's great. Um, there's a place. I live near a lot of diverse foods. There's a place here that sells like something called I'm not sure if you know what doubles is. It's like like Caribbean food. It's like a pita where they put chickpeas and chutney in it. It's
Ooh,
really good. It's
sounds
really
fun.
good. It's very good. But there's a variant of it called a sahina, where the stuffing is the same, but instead of like a pita, they use like a spinach bun, a fried spinach bun. And it's
Okay.
like, wow, like I just tried this the first time like 2 months ago, and it's amazing.
Really?
I'm like, and it's only like $3. So it's like, wow, it's like in this day and age where like food prices is insane,
Yeah.
it's still great to be able to have the option for great food for cheap prices. So it's like maybe I'll get both. Maybe get Donair and a Tahina or something.
Yeah, you can't beat that. $3. That's really
Yeah,
nice.
and then wash it down with some sugarcane juice for $5.
Exactly.
So so yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. Thank you again. Thank you for all your listeners. Thank you for anyone else that anyone watching this as well. You get to see this cyberpunk background brought to you by Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, like my room is actually like I don't want to show it, but it's full of like I mentioned before, I love perfume, and I think there's enough perfume content I have that I would be a little self conscious to show off.
That's awesome, though. You love it.
So So yeah, no, definitely. I'm very glad to speak with you. I know we speak from time to time, so
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, it's been so long. But yeah, whenever if you ever want to do something like this again, yeah, I'm up for
Yeah,
it.
I would love to. We'll definitely figure out something soon.
Yeah, and also I'm gonna maybe I should plug my Twitter too, like how if people want to reach out to me,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Where can
Yeah,
they reach
yeah,
you?
yeah. If anyone want to reach out to me, I've opened my DMs now. It turns out I had DMs closed for years, and
Wait, really?
someone messaged Aaron to be like, "Hey, Aaron, tell Kevin to open his DMs." I'm like, "What is he talking about? It's been open, right?" Right? And I checked my settings, and like it defaults to closed. So I didn't realize this. And I was like, "Oh, nobody could talk to me."
Oh no, that's
For
terrible.
years.
Now I'm gonna have to check mine because I'm like,
Yeah.
why to do that's weird.
Yeah, so it's open now. You can reach out to me, on Twitter or X, whatever it is, at Kevin the Doan. So KevinTheDoan. What was it? What is that? Kilo Echo Victor India November. God, Tango Hotel Echo Delta Oscar Alpha November.
I love
Yeah,
it.
NATO code. I memorized it when I was younger.
That's amazing. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I don't use my social media too much, but if people tag me, I'm always like good to respond. I'm always, I usually just post really random stuff like it just went to a concert, 10 out of 10, or this movie was all right, 6 out of 10, or I'll randomly post like J-pop stuff. I really like, I like Perfume, but I also like Sakura Zaka 46 for those that know, you know, or Kayaki Zaka 46 as they used to be called with Hirate Yurina. She was one of my favorite idols.
Hmm.
Current favorite idol is probably Karin Fujiyoshi. She's gonna be in a new J drama. Yeah, I'm going off tangent again on random J-pop stuff.
No, you're
uh,
fine.
but yeah, people, if you want, please follow me. Please reach out to me, and yeah, like I'm always open to doing more voice acting for anyone. Just hit me up, yourself included, Hannah. I know you said you had some ideas. Um, Definitely, and also like want to say great for you for all your voice acting stuff as well. I checked out some stuff here and there. But you had like this like snippets of stuff. Like I forget what are those types of videos called, where it's like a profile or something.
The demo reel?
Yeah, character demo reels. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's I checked that out, and so yeah, it's great. I think you're obviously passionate. You're obviously very passionate about things, and wish you the very best.
Thanks. Thank you. Well, you'll definitely know what comes, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I'll talk to you soon. It was great chatting with you, and I can't wait to do this again.
All right, thank you everyone, thank you, and had a great time. Thank you.
Bye, Kevin.
Bye, Hannah.